Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tipped. Julian here for another waiver wire ads video. This one for week 6 of the fantasy hockey season. Before we jump into things, guys, drop a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you do want to take your support to the next level, definitely consider hitting the link below, going to my Patreon and joining there. That'd be awesome. You support the channel and you're able to DM with me, ask me any fantasy hockey questions you have. And I also add you to the early access video list. So as soon as I upload the video to YouTube, you get access to it. Let's jump into the content now, guys, and let's take a look at the schedule for this week. Now, on Monday, November 10th, there are 4 games. On Tuesday, there are 9. On Wednesday, there are 4. Thursday, 10, Friday, 4, Saturday, 13, and Sunday, 5. So as usual, the off days are Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Nothing too crazy here. Your lineup is likely full on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Although Tuesday, there is a chance that you might be able to fit someone. You'll have to check that, but it's definitely good to prioritize players that play on off nights this week. That way, you're pretty much guaranteed to fit them in your schedule, and you can maximize the amount of games that your team plays this week. Now, which teams have the best schedule in terms of off days? Well, it's the Rangers, the Islanders, and the Nashville Predators. The Rangers and Islanders play 4 games, with 3 of them being on off days, whereas Nashville only plays 3 games, but all 3 of them are on off days, Monday, Friday, and Sunday. Now, usually there are lots of teams that play 4 games in a week, but for some reason this week there are only a handful. The Rangers and Islanders, as I already said, and then the Blue Jackets, the Oilers, and the Vegas Golden Knights are the only teams that actually play 4 games this week. So if you have players from those teams, and especially if you have a lot of players from those teams, you have a very good chance of winning this week. Now, who has the worst schedules? Well, Chicago, Pittsburgh, and Utah all only play 2 games this week, whereas every other team in the NHL plays 3, or the teams that I already specified play 4. But they're not really that bad, since Pittsburgh's 2 games are on off nights, same with Utah's, and then Chicago's 1 of the 2 games is on off nights, so it's not that bad. If you have players from these teams, Chicago probably has the worst of the 3, but it's not that bad. Jumping into some forwards that you can add to your team now, and first on the list is Trevor Zegras of the Philadelphia Flyers, and he's having himself a great season so far since switching teams to Philadelphia. So far, he's got 15 points through 14 games, which is absolutely fantastic. And he's playing on the top line right now with Tippett and Dvorak, if you want to consider that the top line, as well as the top power play. And he's absolutely excelling. So definitely add him as long as he's this hot. Next, I have Vincent Trocheck of the New York Rangers, and he's only owned in 60% of leagues now. So there's a decent chance if you're in a shallower league that somebody dropped Vincent Trocheck due to his injury. Add him now. Trust me, guys, he's probably coming back this week, and he always has the potential to be a top 50 player, especially if you have face-off wins and hits. But even if you don't, he's still going to be really, really good. Hopefully, his coming back ignites a fire under some of the other New York Rangers like Artemi Panarin, and hopefully they can turn things around a little bit. But I do like Trocheck a lot. Troy Terry is another guy having a phenomenal year, playing on the top line and top power play with Leo Carlsson, and that is good deployment. Then we have Will Smith of the San Jose Sharks, who's playing on the top line and top power play with Macklin Celebrini. And Celebrini is actually tied for the most points in the NHL right now, which is really good. And obviously, playing with him gives you a huge boost. I like Will Smith quite a bit. Then we have Will Cooley of the New York Rangers playing right now with JT Miller and Alexis Lafreniere. That could change once Trocheck comes back. But either way, the Rangers do have a favorable schedule this week. And 4 games with 3 of them being on off days is a good time to stream Will Cooley. He's been putting up points, and his floor is still really, really safe. Next, I have Chris Kreider of the Anaheim Ducks, and these Anaheim Ducks are for real. 5 goals in 4 games since coming back from his illness. The dude can't get an assist to save his life, but he is line 1 and power play 1 with Leo Carlsson. Yeah, add him right now. You're in for a treat. Next, we have Connor Garland of the Vancouver Canucks, and he's finally back from his injury. He didn't miss too much time, but he's back on the top line and the top power play, and he kind of carried off just where he left off, guys. In his first game back, he had 7 shots on goal. Yeah, the dude is hungry for the net and should have a great season. Next is John Huberdeau of the Calgary Flames, 35% rostered, and he's on a 6-game point streak right now. 3 goals and 4 assists during that stretch. I'd ride him while he's hot. He's power play 1 and line 2, which ain't bad. Then we have Marco Rossi of the Minnesota Wild, and he's back on the top line with Kaprizov, which is why he's super hot. That line of Kaprizov, Rossi, and Marcus Johansson was doing some pretty incredible things. Now that Zuccarello's back, I'm expecting him to take Johansson's spot, but Rossi should stay there and continue to be pretty valuable. Definitely add him until he cools off, or if he's moved off that top line, you could probably drop him as well. And finally, Ivan Barbashev, or Barbie, 28% rostered. With Vegas having 4 games this week, he's a pretty easy add, guys. He's playing on the top line with Eichel and Marner. Yeah, that's pretty freaking good this week. Then we have Emil Heineman of the New York Islanders, and his 5-on-5 deployment could not be better. He's on a line with Horvat and Barzal, and he always provides a very safe floor with hits and shots on goal. He's a very good player to be adding for the off nights and the 4 games that the Islanders have. Anthony Mantha is another guy who I've had on this list for a couple weeks now. He's been pretty good. He's playing on Pittsburgh's second line, and despite not getting top power play time, he seems to be consistently scoring goals and getting points. So until he completely cools off, he's definitely still a decent add. Now, Pittsburgh, like I said, does not play till Friday and Sunday. So if you can refrain from adding him until Friday, that would be ideal. That way you don't hold a guy who's going to be doing nothing for you all week. But if you do add him for Friday, Sunday, hey, you get yourself a couple of off nights there. That ain't bad. Kyle Palmieri of the New York Islanders is also a good add. He's playing in the top 6 in New York and is getting top power play time. And that really ain't bad. And he's been scoring points so far this year. So again, for the off nights this week and the 4 games, that's really not bad. Jack Roslovic of the Edmonton Oilers is someone who's playing really well right now. He's kind of fit in seamlessly with the Oilers since they've signed him. He's playing on the second line with Draisaitl as well as the top power play, and he's putting up points like almost every single night. So as long as this dude stays hot and is on that top power play unit, he's definitely got some value. Then we have Matt Zuccarello, and he's finally back, baby, and it's awesome to hear because I'm a huge Matt Zuccarello fan, and he should be getting top line and top power play time back like he always does. At the very least, he'll be top line. He probably will get top power play time back. And this dude is an absolute stud in real life. So hopefully he carries on from where he left off last year. Next, we have Ben Kindle of the Pittsburgh Penguins. And now he's actually playing on the top line with Sidney Crosby on top of the top power play. And he already looks really good just being on that top power play. So that even boosts his value even more. Again, if you're in a league where you think no one's going to be adding him, I'd wait till probably Friday to do this just because the Penguins don't play till then. So you're going to be wasting a spot. But obviously, if you're in a super deep league and you think someone's going to scoop him up, you probably can do that now. Alex Newhook of the Montreal Canadiens is playing super well, is scoring points seemingly every single night. And as long as the dude keeps playing the way he's playing, he's a decent add in deeper leagues. Yakov Trenin is someone who, surprisingly, I actually haven't had on this list yet this year, but I've been kind of a huge fan of his. He's actually leading the league in hits right now. So he's not going to do a whole lot outside of that, but every single night, he's seemingly putting up such a high amount of hits, which gives you such a safe floor every single night. And if you're in a deep league where hits have like some kind of value, he's really not a bad add. Noah Cates. How about a little bit of love for this guy? 5 points in his last 6 games. He's now on a line with Travis Konechny as well as the top power play. I'm a big fan of his right now. Luke Evangelista of the Nashville Predators, only 1% rostered, but he's playing on the top line with Philip Forsberg as well as the top power play with Philip Forsberg. On this week where the Predators have off nights Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday, it's really not a bad time to add him. Even if you're just adding him for the Monday and Wednesday game and then swapping him out, I don't hate that. And then Anthony Beauvillier is somebody that should be added in deep leagues. He's actually playing on the top line with Alexander Ovechkin. It looks like Pierre-Luc Dubois is going to be out for a while. And with him out for a while, Beauvillier has been elevated to the top 6 and should stick there a while, and he's playing pretty well to start. Jumping into defensemen now, and Jacob Trouba is just playing phenomenally right now. He's even been elevated to the second power play because he's playing so well. His floor's been great, and he's been putting up lots of points. Now, I'm not expecting the points to really continue that much, but Anaheim is just scoring so many goals that as long as they're super hot like this and scoring goals, Trouba's points might actually be able to continue. That's why I like him right now. I think he's definitely going to go down in value later on in the season, but right now, he's definitely super good. Justin Falk of the St. Louis Blues is getting most of the top power play time over there, so he's definitely got some value, and he's actually scoring points and a decent floor, which is good. Oliver Ekman-Larsson is the top power play guy in Toronto right now. He's kind of past Morgan Riley in the pecking order for that for whatever reason. I don't think he's going to stay there too long. They did the same thing last year at times. He's probably not going to stick there, but as long as he is on that top power play, he's got some value. Jeremy Lauzon, someone who I like, especially for this week where Vegas has 4 games. He puts up a super safe floor every night with his hits. He's even blocking a little bit, so definitely a floor. Don't really expect too many points from him, but 4 games of a safe floor sounds pretty good to me. Alexander Romanov is somebody who also does pretty much the exact same thing as Jeremy Lauzon, a safe floor with hits and blocks, and has 4 games, with 3 of them being on off nights this week. John Klingberg of the San Jose Sharks, 8% rostered, and he's a top power play guy in San Jose, and honestly, he's doing pretty well. I'm shocked he's still only 8% rostered. Now, before I jump into the rest of the guys, I kind of want to talk about Dahlin leaving for Sweden to be with his fiance. Obviously a super scary situation, but with Dahlin out of the lineup, somebody is going to have to take his place on power play 1. Now, the reason I don't have a Buffalo defenseman in these slides is because I don't know yet if it's going to be Owen Power or if it's going to be Bowen Byram. One of those 2 guys is definitely going to gain quite a bit of value. We just don't know which one yet. If I was a gambling man, I'd gamble on Power, but it's hard to tell until they actually have a practice and show us the lines. Artem Levshinov of the Chicago Blackhawks, 4% roster, is also now on the top power play in Chicago. He's actually been scoring points quite a bit lately, which is impressive considering he was in top power play. And Renzel has been just so bad that they've elevated Levshinov there, and they're going to give him that opportunity. Hopefully he can impress. Jared Spurgeon is the top power play guy in Minnesota. I don't know how long that's going to last, but power play has been clicking a little bit the last couple games, so it's possible he stays there a little bit longer. Brady Shea is actually top power play guy in Nashville, and he definitely could make for a decent streamer this week where Nashville plays on some off nights. Sean Walker of the Carolina Hurricanes is 4% rostered, and even though Keandre Miller is back, he's still on the top power play in Carolina. And that power play is finally seeming to click, so he's probably going to stick there until Gostisbehere comes back. Matt Roy of the Washington Capitals is only 1% rostered, but as of late, the last couple weeks, he's been putting up some crazy good peripherals. And if you're in a super deep league, you probably can't find much better than that on the waiver wire. And finally, if you're in an ultra deep league, Nick Blankenburg is an option to add. Now, Blankenburg has actually gotten, I think, like 4 or 5 points in his last 5 games. And he actually is getting power play time, almost half the power play time in Nashville. He's on a power play with Marchessault and Stamkos. And honestly, his floor hasn't been that bad either. He's shooting and he's blocking. So you definitely could do worse in a super deep league. And especially this week where they play on Monday and Wednesday. I don't absolutely hate that ad. As for goalies, we have Jacob Dovesh of the Montreal Canadiens. He's the starter right now in Montreal, but if Montembeault continues to kind of bounce back a little bit, it'll probably end up being more of a split crease, but still, I like Dovesh a lot. Joseph Woll of the Toronto Maple Leafs should be back probably this week at some point. If he is, then he's going to be probably a split starter with Anthony Stolarz. Jet Greaves and Merzlikins of the Columbus Blue Jackets are splitting starts over there. Both are playing well. Akira Schmid and Carl Lindbaum. Now, Akira Schmid, I thought was going to be the full-time starter in Vegas, but it looks like they don't want to start him too many games. They don't want him to get hurt or whatever it is. They don't trust him to start that many games, whatever it is. Lindbaum seems to be getting every second game in Vegas, even after Schmid posted a shutout. So if you're in a super deep league, Lindbaum is an option to get you some starts. John Gibson and Cam Talbot seems to be splitting the starts pretty evenly at this point. Both are decent options. Lyon and Luukkonen, or 6K as I like to call them, are splitting the starts pretty evenly as well until one of them kind of comes out on top. They're both okay options. Darth Vader of the Philadelphia Flyers is the starter over there. Even when Urson comes back, which should be super soon, I think Vader is going to continue to get the bulk of the starts. Artur Silovs of the Pittsburgh Penguins is 23% rostered, and with Jari gone for a few weeks, he is now the full-time starter in Pittsburgh and should be added in way more leagues. Yaroslav Askarov and Alex Nedeljkovic of the San Jose Sharks are only 16% and 3% rostered respectively. As of late, the Sharks have been playing much better, and their goalies have been much better as well. I really don't hate either of these guys. They seem to be splitting starts pretty evenly. And finally, if you're super desperate for a goalie, Jonas Korpisalo actually seems to be getting about half the starts in Boston. So if you're in a super deep league, he's an option as well. And that's it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, drop a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And I'll catch all of you guys in the next episode of Fantasy Tipped.